Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of League Chat with the Stat, brought to you by Latitude Accountants. Now, I know these boys very well, and when you meet these boys, you know that they were born to be accountants. Now, they're fanatical Parramatta supporters and will be able to assist you with any of your accounting needs. If you're looking for a new accountant, don't be afraid to give one of the boys, Mick or Pat, a call on 0298909040. That's 0298909040. Now, thank you for joining me once again on another week of League Chat with the Stat. Now, got to start the podcast in a way that I don't like to, but need to address something just before we start. Sending my condolences to the family, the Titmus family. Keith Titmus passed away this week at training with Manly Seagulls at the age of 20. He was signed over to the Manly Seagulls at the age of 14 on a contract and rose through the grades for Howard Matthews and SG Ball. Now, for those that would remember, he was the one that scored the winning try in the 2017 Grand Final against Parramatta in the SG Ball comp and won them the game with his try, breaking through the line and scoring that try. Now, obviously due to COVID this year, he didn't get an opportunity to play any sort of football, but returned this year, returning for next year, got signed to the top 30 deal. 6 years after he was signed up by Manly, got signed up to a top 30 deal for 2021. And he started training. He dedicated his life to playing footy. And it's another tragedy in what's been a horrendous year in general. Just another tragedy and a very, very sad situation to see someone who lived and breathed rugby league be gone from us way too soon. So sending a love and condolences to the family of Keith Titmus. And if there's anything we can do, please reach out. We are definitely praying for you guys as you mourn the loss of your son. Now, wanting to kick off straight away with the last game of State of Origin, the Maroons 20 defeating the Blues 14. And congratulations to all you Maroon fans out there. I won't sit here and lie. I actually was not expecting that result to go down the way it did. I genuinely thought that the Blues would have had it, considering that we won Game 2 and we won it pretty comfortably. But there are a few things here that just really frustrated me from the game from the Blues. Definitely a very, very poor start. And they couldn't capitalize against the Maroons. Now, I don't get it, to be honest with you. Really frustrated me, if I can say the least. Now, it just blows my mind that we lost Game 1. We lost Game 1, 18 points to 14. And as I sit here and I think about the Origin series that's gone by, I get very confused. And I don't understand it. And what I don't understand about it is the fact that we threw the game away in the first go. In the first game, we threw that game away. 18 points to 14. It was a game that we should have won. And we got to remember that Maroons blooded in about 14, 15 new players across the 3 games. That is abhorrently absurd. I can't believe that they blooded all these kids in and we still lost to them. Yeah, we had a few players that we didn't select. Yeah, we had a few players that we were missing. But it just goes to show the type of coach Wayne Bennett is. And he gets the right people around him and he gets the boys to do some simple tasks. And it's amazing how far they go. The Blues didn't make it easy for themselves, however, losing James Tedesco in the 32nd minute to a knee from Papali. Now, that's where we lost the game. Tedesco going down and then having absolutely no cohesion in attack from that point onwards was where we lost the game. Now, yeah, just I don't have many words for it. I mean, there were so many things that I want to pinpoint from the game. You just see how well Munster played. Player of the series, big call, played 2 of the games, and it was pretty ordinary in the first half of the first game and scored that try in the second half of the second game to pretty much win it for the Maroons. Didn't play the second game at all, but played the third game and it was outstanding. He complimented Jerry Evans very well. He was very dominant with ball in hand. He made New South Wales think twice every time he got the ball. And you know what? Yeah, he deserved it. I genuinely think he deserved getting that player of the series. I actually thought Dane Gagai was another one for me. I would have put over there. But we haven't had a spine player anyone outside the spine win an Origin series, win a player of the series since 2017. So, but look, credit to Queensland, credit to the Maroons, and they did fantastic. When you've got players like Payne Haas making 6 runs for 25 metres, it's an absolute joke. You know, I thought Brad Fittler lost us the game before the game started. I thought that his selections of having those 4 forwards on the bench, when someone like Ryan Pappenhausen was available, cost us the series. He wasn't available the first 2 games due to that calf strain, but was available for the 3rd game and never got that opportunity. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that Brad Fittler, you know, he knew that Tedesco was going to get injured, or he knew that some of the boys were going to go down, or Cody Walker going down in the 75th minute. No. I understand that. But you cannot have 4 forwards coming off the bench and not have at least one player as a utility. It makes no sense to me. Game 1, we had Cody Walker off the bench and Luke Keary in the starting. All right, game 2, because Pappenhausen wasn't available, we went through 4 forwards. And we won. But why did we win? We won because Munster wasn't there. Munster flopped early in the early stages of that game. And then come game 3, we have someone like Pappenhausen who can change the game up in his attack and the way he plays. And we don't even consider to put him in. We put him 18th man and we don't put him in the 17. I thought it was very poor. And when you look at it and you think about it, Nathan Brown, okay? I was so pumped that he was playing Origin this year. So pumped. Game 2, he romped it. But game 3, he played 13 minutes. Not his fault. What was Brad Fittler thinking? Especially how dominant he was in game 2 and how he beat up all the forwards. And that first run he made, it was like he was made for State of Origin. But you're playing for 13 minutes. I'm sorry, that's garbage. You don't look at a game from game 2 and then completely change it to game 3. He played at least 35 minutes in game 2 and you gave him 13 minutes in game 3. It's dumb. I would have put a utility in that spot. I wouldn't have wasted Nathan Brown's time having him on for 13 minutes in the second half. That's dumb. Look, Brad Fittler made some mistakes in his coaching. It was very, very poor. But look, honestly, as I said last week, if Munster played game 2, we'd lose game 2. Very, very clear. Very evident. We would definitely lose game 2. We all got very cocky and got so easy and went all easy about it, thinking that we were going to win because we won at home. To go to Suncorp Stadium for game 3 and then completely just stuff it up. I mean, yeah, look, not happy. And Maroons had a lot of players missing, and I'll keep emphasising on that because when they get those players back, just how well are they going to go? Well, look, you got to give credit where credit is due. Queensland were obviously the better side on Wednesday night. And look, as I said, Fittler's got some thinking to do. You know, Payne Haas, 6 runs, 25 metres. Garbage. Tyson Frizzell, the worst years I've ever seen him play. And every time I pick an Origin team, Frizzell's the first one I pick. This year was rubbish. You know, we definitely could have used some experience in the front row. I thought David Clemmer was missing big time. I thought the year he had was phenomenal. I thought he had a massive year for Newcastle Knights. I thought he was one of the best forward in the comp behind Papali. Yet we didn't select him for whatever dumb reason it was. We did not select him. You know, had players like Luke Keary and Regan Campbell-Gillard go home before game 3 because they knew they weren't going to be utilised. We had someone like Clemmer who wasn't even selected at all. I thought it was pathetic. I mean, the selection of the backs actually made no sense either. You know, Gutherson being selected over Lomax and Crichton will always dumbfound me. Always. I don't get it. We have specialist centres. Why pick these kids in if you're not going to use them? I can't sit here and comprehend that. I can't comprehend the fact that we had someone like Stephen Crichton who had a very solid year, and Zach Lomax, who unbelievable year for the Dragons, considering they were garbage. And we didn't utilise them once in the Origin series. Once. One game. We put Gutherson, who got shown and got schooled by a second rower in the first game. Look, I'm not going to sit here and blame him for game 3. Obviously, game 3 was game 3. He had to come in and play 55 minutes in the spot of Tedesco, who got injured. But then that's where my other problem is. When you've got a side of like 27 players, I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm not some sort of coach. I'm not here someone thinking I'm a top coach or anything. But wouldn't you prepare for situations like that? Gutherson went into fullback and looked completely lost. It's not his fault. He didn't train enough at fullback. He didn't know that Tedesco was going to go down in the 32nd minute. But if I was Brad Fittler, what I would have done is I would have trained as if those players weren't going to be playing the 80 minutes. Obviously, in a God forbid situation, I'd take Cook out. And see how I would have worked my team with Cook. I would have taken Cleary out. Who would have chucked in the halves? Who would have put in the backs? Who would have mixed up in the front row? Who would have put on the bench? If Cody Walker got off, who would have put at number 6? Would have put Jack White in at 6? And if Tedesco went off, I would have trained, I would have prepped, that if at any point one of my main players in the spine were going to go down, that we would still be able to perform at a decent level. Bradfield has stuffed that up. He dropped the ball there. Yeah, look, just very dumb. We have a lot to work on in this next year. A lot to work on. Now, Fielder's gone on a high, winning 2 series, and I understand that. But now the pressure's on. To lose a series with a bunch of debutants, and with us almost having a full-strength side for every week, it's not good enough. It definitely under par. And I'm not going to sit here and say Bradfield is a bad coach. No, he made some costly decisions. But if it doesn't grow from this, if it doesn't learn from this, it'll come back and bite him. And we'll lose another series. So there's a lot to consider and a lot to take in from that. But look, congratulations to the Maroons once again. Definitely the better team throughout the whole series. And as for New South Wales, we've got to go back to the drawing board. And we've got to go back very, very fast. Now let's take it to the news around the NRL world. Now, the West Tigers have been busy in the recruitment world for the last couple of weeks. They've poached some kids from the Bulldogs. They've poached centers and who are brothers Iverson and Compton, Foe Tamau, sorry. And they've also grabbed their brother Tyrese, who was a front rower. All from the Bulldogs, all brothers. Iverson and Compton are both centers, and Tyrese is a front rower. They will all be ready for NRL come 2022 season. And it's a good signing for the Tigers there. Having some kids come through the ranks and go through the junior systems under Michael Maguire, I think is very good. Former Bulldogs prop Aidan Tolman has signed a 1-year deal with the Cronulla Sharks. Will be pretty useful considering that CC Fatalakai and Royce Hunt will be missing the early start of 2021. And I can see him coming in and having his experience being valued at the Sharks there. So it's a decent signing for the Sharks considering their injury toll. If they didn't have any injuries and they signed him, definitely would have questioned it. But considering the injury toll and having him on a 1-year deal just for that experience, you can't go wrong. So it's a pretty good signing by the Sharks. Now, there isn't only David Fifita joining the Gold Coast Titans. Another Fifita will be joining the ranks there. Jojo Fifita signed a 3-year deal with the Gold Coast Titans. 18-year-old kid who they've signed from rugby union. And will definitely hear Jojo Fifita's name come up over the next few years at the Gold Coast Titans. Josh Hannah has signed on, has left his post as a Cowboys caretaker coach, and as the assistant, and has signed on with the Cronulla Sharks as an assistant coach to John Morris. Josh King, the Newcastle front rower, has extended his contract with the Knights for another season. Giving the Knights a bit more depth in the front row, and especially being a local there, would be able to grab more games under his belt. Parramatta Eagles winger Blake Ferguson has been told that he will not have his deal extended beyond 2021, which means that once the 2021 season ends, he will be off contract and will be available to any club that will see him beneficial in any way. Sawaso Su, the Bulldogs front rower, has signed a 2-year deal with the Newcastle Knights. Another club who's been busy in the recruitment world in the last few weeks. He'll come up and give them depth in their front row. And isn't a terrible signing. I thought when he played for Bulldogs, he was okay. I don't think he was anything amazing, but he got the job done. And so he'll be a handy acquisition for the Newcastle Knights. The West Tigers, back to them. They have signed Rabbitoh centre James Roberts on a 2-year deal, a cut price 2-year deal, 1 year on a 1-year deal, and the second year in favour of the club. The Knights have signed the nephew of Josh Hodgson, Bailey Hodgson, on a 3-year contract. I believe he has flown over and is currently quarantining. He's a fullback who can also play in the wings and in the centres, and he's only 18, so he'll be able to have his career developed over at the Newcastle Knights. Former Wallabies coach Michael Cheika has been announced as the new coach of the Lebanon international side, the Lebanon Cedars, which will be an interesting signing for them, considering he has no NRL coaching experience and has been an assistant to Trent Robertson in the last few years. The Dragons have released Corbin Sims on the last year of his contract, and he'll be signing a 3-year deal with Hull FC, while Kade Ellis, who came on as a mid-season recruit from the Penrith Panthers, has signed on an extra 2 years and has extended his contract at the Saints. Peter V'landys will be making it a point over this off-season to review the scrums. Currently, he's labelled it an absolute facade, and he wants to see some changes with the scrum. He wants to keep the idea of it, loves the idea of how the scrums work, but he knows that it's being treated as a joke at the moment. Now, the Tigers have signed Penrith backup fullback Dane Laurie on a 2-year deal commencing from season 2022 onwards. I know that Tigers are still trying to sign him for 2021, but with that looking less likely by the day, he will stick it out for 2021 and then be joining the Tigers on a 2-year deal from season 2022. Tim Glasby, who retired this year from the Newcastle Knights and retired due to repeated concussions, will be heading back to Melbourne and has signed on as the Melbourne Storm's recruitment officer and pathways manager. Has taken a career with the Melbourne Storm back home. Now, Akila Iwate, we all remember Akila Iwate, who was a cult hero for Newcastle and played a few seasons for Manly before heading over to Huddersfield, has announced his retirement from the game after 11 to 13 years playing rugby league. He has had a reoccurrence of that ankle injury and hasn't been able to beat it, and has definitely since then announced his retirement from the game. So all the best to you, Akila, and what you look to do in the next phase of your life. This one's a bit of a shock to me, I won't lie. Bailey Sirinen, I thought I had a pretty decent year under Wayne Bennett and signed a 1-year contract extension through to the end of season 2021. On Friday, he was released from his contract and has taken up a 3-year deal with the New Zealand Warriors, which I think is a fantastic signing for the Warriors. It's a great coup by Nathan Brown. Bailey Sirinen really showed his true colours this year and showed that he's a consistent forward to be playing first grade. And look, again, the coaching of Wayne Bennett did him absolute wonders there as well. So it's a bit of a loss for the Rabbitohs, but he has signed a 3-year deal with the Warriors. Rabbitohs loss and Warriors gain there. So still on the Rabbitohs, and their centre and second rower, Jack Johns, the son of Matthew Johns, has signed a development deal with the Newcastle Knights, heading back to Newcastle on a 2-year deal. What I love about this as well, he has signed as I said, a development contract. He agreed to a $60,000 a season developmental contract. But what I love in this as well is that he actually signed a handshake agreement to join the club after speaking with Adam O'Brien. When Rabbitohs came up with the available funds to keep him on for much more money, he rejected the idea and made it very clear that he had signed a handshake deal to head over to Newcastle. So, mate, credit to Jack Johns there. Says a lot about your character and a lot about your plans and what the legacy you want to leave as a rugby league player. So, big respect to you there, mate. The Sydney Roosters have released Christian Tuipulotu, just another fringe first grader for the Sydney Roosters. He'll be heading most likely to the Manly Sea Eagles. We are just awaiting official confirmation on that. The Rabbitohs have re-signed Keon Koloamatangi on a 2-year contract extension. He was coming off contract at the end of next season and is signed on until 2023. Bit of a silly signing here. Jake Clifford has signed a 2-year deal with the Newcastle Knights from season 2022 onwards. I think it's a stupid signing, and I'll explain exactly to you why. Jake Clifford hasn't proven himself to be a regular starting halfback for the North Queensland Cowboys. He'll be jumping over ship in 2022 to the Newcastle Knights to be partnering who most likely will be Mitchell Pearce in the halves. But I don't see why. I'm not sure if you guys paid attention much this year to the Newcastle Knights, but Kurt Mann was an absolute standout at 5'8" this year. In fact, in any position he played, whether he came off the bench or he filled in at 5'8" or played hooker, he was an absolute standout. But in that first half of the season where he played 5'8", you could seriously tell that was his position. I think Adam O'Brien has jumped the gun here and has made a stupid signing. I don't think Jake Clifford offers much in attack or even in defence. It'll be interesting to see how he goes over at Newcastle for season 2022. But I don't think it's a good signing and a signing that the Newcastle Knights needed to make. Now, moving on from that, Albert Kelly. You guys would have known him from his time over at the Gold Coast Titans and at the Cronulla Sharks. Has come back after 6 years at Hull FC and has signed on a train and trial deal with the Brisbane Broncos. He will be there to at least end of January. And if he has proven himself over training, he brings a bit of an unorthodox approach to his training styles and his playing style. But Kevin Walters will be loving to have him on, signed on maybe just for a year, maybe even 2 years, to be back up to Croft and Milford as well as Dearden over at the Brisbane Broncos. Now, the Tigers have re-signed their forward Sean Bloor for another 2 years, keeping there to the end of 2023. Good signing, this one. Obviously, you guys remember Sean Bloor and how he came one-on-one with Nathan Brown and battled it out when the Tigers versus the Eels earlier this year. I think it's a good signing for the Tigers and one they'll be able to build the forward pack around in the years to come. Gareth Widdop has been linked with a return to the North Queensland Cowboys. The only thing that's stopping it at the moment is the funds. Cowboys don't have the available funds to keep him on or to get him on for a decent deal. The only way they could do that is if they release Jake Clifford to Newcastle a year early. which could be beneficial as well, considering that Mason Lino, who was their backup half, has signed a 3-year deal with Wakefield Wildcats over the Super League and will be there for the next 3 years. Now, Josh Adokar was seen on Tuesday touring the Bulldogs facilities, which could just increase the chances of him heading over to Belmore in 2022. Now, as far as I'm concerned and what I've been told, the meeting did go very well, and they look to meet again in the next few weeks to discuss the length of the contract and the money. But Bulldogs are red-hot favourites to sign him for the season 2022 onwards. Still on the Bulldogs for now, and they have confirmed the signing of Matt Burton, the Penrith 5'8", over the next 3 years on a $1.2 million deal for 3 years. Now, he'll come in for season 2022. It will be off contract season 2024. It was a good signing for the Bulldogs, a signing that they needed to make, and he'll be partnering Kyle Flanagan in the halves for next year. For 2022. And it will be interesting to see how he fits in with that spine, considering with all the depth that the Bulldogs have in the halves at the moment. And as we're closing off, Brett Hodgson has signed a deal and has left his post as the Tigers' assistant coach and has taken up a full-time role with Hull FC. And last bit of news, Luke Metcalf, who was with the Sea Eagles, starred most likely in 2019, was where he usually starred, has signed a developmental contract with the Cronulla Sharks for season 2020 run. Now, you're probably guys thinking that there were 2 bits of information I missed out, but I'm gonna start this bit of the segment with a rant. Now, over time, we have seen that the NRL are a joke when it comes to contracts. And we've seen in these 2 particular players, this whole thing with them not being happy for whatever stupid reason, but signing lengthy deals and then wanting to back out of it. Let me start with Josh Aloiai. Now, Josh Aloiai, is a Tigers front rower. He was pretty fringe most of his career. But this year under Michael Maguire, he really stepped it up and he had one of his best years to date. All of a sudden, this imbecile thinks that he is now better than the club, and how I said he wants an immediate release. Just 4 weeks ago, he was talking about how he wants to extend his time in the club, and he's loving how the club are moving forward. And now he wants a release. Manly have come up with an approach, and Manly have signed him from season 2022 onwards on a 2-year deal. But the problem I have here is that Josh Aloiai plays 1 good year, thinks he's top crap, gets offered a bit more money by Manly, and comes out and says, I never want to wear the Tigers jersey ever again. And if the Tigers don't release me, I'll be doing whatever I want. I'm not gonna come to training. Who are you? Do you think you're bigger than the club? I hate how players think they're bigger than the club. If you look at NBA and how they use their systems, they're traded. The clubs own the players, and they get traded to whatever deal suits them, to whatever deal can bring them success. Josh Aloiai plays 1 good year, thinks he's top crap, and suddenly goes, oh, nah, I'm bigger than the club and I want to go to Manly now and I'm not going to rock up to training. But who are you? Who do you think you are? You've had 1 good year. Take it easy. Take a seat back, calm down. And credit to the Tigers. They don't want to be used as a stepping stone like they were used with Ryan Madison, trying to get more money elsewhere. And that's the only thing to it. Josh Aloiai just wants more money. And I can understand you play your career and you have limited opportunity. I get it. But don't sign a contract and not fulfill it. And he's one of the older ones in the game. He's 25. Let's look at this example. Jason Saab, who's a 19-year-old playing for the Dragons. Played a few games for him last year. Didn't get seen much in first grade this year. And now he wants to be released from his contract to go play for Sea Eagles because, the distance is too far. Are you kidding me? Earlier this year, you signed a 2-year or 3-year extension. Or last year, you signed a 3-year extension to remain with the club till season 2022. And now you're sitting here, kicking up a stink because, it's too far. And you want to go sign with Manly. What? I don't get it. Why do these players sign these deals? Sign deals for 3 years, 4 years extended, or sign from this date and from that date, and they can't fulfill it. It's just a joke. It's dumb. Jason Saab is a 19-year-old kid. He thinks it's best for him to go do that. This week he actually didn't turn up to training. He was actually on personal leave, actually doing sprint training with Roger Fabry, who is the sprint trainer. Took personal leave from training to go train with someone else, while his manager can sort out the release from the Dragons. Which, just so you guys are aware, is going to be fulfilled, and he'll be at Manly Eagles next year. I believe they're getting Manly going to pay a compensation fee of like $25,000 to $50,000, and they're going to jump him ship over from the Dragons to the Sea Eagles. He took personal leave because he isn't happy with where he is at the club. Who are you? You are nothing. These players, I think they're bigger than the club. You guys are nothing. You're all garbage. And when he was brought up at a time with Ryan Madison, Todd Greenberg came out and he said, "Oh well, it's between the clubs. It's none of our business." No, that's stupid. Peter Flanders would need to step in and sort something out here because it's a joke. Our club, our game is a joke. Our code is a joke for players wanting to leave. Oh, the distance is too far. Oh, I want more money here. Oh, I don't like this person. Or they drop me, they put me in this otherwise cup because they want the best for me, and I don't want to sit here and cop that crap. Who are you? You guys are nothing. Don't sign a contract for that amount of time if you're not going to fulfill it. Don't sit here and kick up and think about certain things and about certain situations that you can't control. Oh, if I want to get more money here, yeah, I want to go. It's a joke. It's so stupid. If you're going to sign a contract, sign it. Like I just mentioned not long ago, Jack Johns. The kid's 18, 19, maybe 20? 20 years old. He signed the handshake deal, which is very, very rarely done in this day and age. Signed the handshake deal with Adam O'Brien, regardless of what the money was offered. And said, I'm going to be jumping to you guys. Rabbitohs offered him more money. They said, stay. We can offer you a longer contract and you have more money. And he goes, no. I took a handshake deal with Adam O'Brien. I'm heading back to Newcastle. That's a man. That is a man. Not like this imbecile Josh Aloiai plays one good year, thinks he's hectic. Oh, I want more money. I want to release now. I never want to play for the Tigers ever again. Who are you? It's time that the NRL step in and start to realize that you cannot, like you're not bigger than the club. If you sign a deal, that is your deal. Don't back out. Don't sign a 1 year deal of 3 years because, the money's not good enough. I can get a better opportunity elsewhere. I don't think this club is in the right direction. Don't sign the deal. Don't go. Don't waste time. I'll leave it there on that. I just think it's ridiculous that these players think they're bigger than the code. They think they're bigger than the club and they can do whatever the hell they want. I think it's stupid. I think that the NRL need to step in, and the sooner they step in, the better. And look, I'm glad that the Tigers weren't going to hesitate and release him. But they're being compensated with Joe Ofahengaue coming over from the Broncos, signing a 3-year deal with the Tigers, which should be announced shortly. Now, Broncos will be chipping in about $200,000 of his salary to the Tigers. But because the Tigers are being compensated, they're letting him go. The Tigers CEO actually came out and said that I didn't care if Aloiai mows the grass all year next year. I didn't care. He signed the contract, he should stay. And good. Good. Credit to him for actually sticking his foot down and saying we're not going to be used as a joke anymore. We're not going to be used as the club that people want to come to, get better deals, and then leave. That's not how it works. If that deal with Ofahengaue didn't go through, and Aloiai didn't turn up to training next Monday, he was going to be sacked. If I was Manly, I would be concerned. For Jason Saab and for Josh Aloiai. If he's kicking up a stink now over something like this, with the Tigers, he can seriously do the same thing with Manly. If I was Manly, I'd be stressing out thinking, what do I do here? Do I sign this bloke? Thinking that he could bail out on me in a year or two? Do I sign these boys? Do I put in time? Do I put in effort? Do I put in the time to train them and give them a decent wage? Look, if I was the future employers, I'll be seriously considering, contemplating how they've handled these situations, both of them. And seriously taking a step back and thinking, okay, I don't know if I should bring these players into our culture. I don't think I should be bringing players like that into our club. Now, many have copped it as well. They lost Adam Fanua-Blake, and they see Aloiai as a decent replacement. I agree. I don't think he's a terrible replacement. But the circumstances surrounding it are a joke. And I think it's something that the NRL really need to look into and really analyse and figure out because, it's just becoming a joke. And players think that they're bigger than the club, and really they're garbage. And they're absolutely nothing. Guys, thank you for joining me this week on another episode of League Chat with the Stat. As you guys know, we are all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, where you can see me, see my big head with this crazy moustache, and see me rant on day in and now, on the biggest topics in rugby league. As you guys know, we are on different podcasting streams. Just continue to share it around to your friends and family. I appreciate all the support I've had so far. And guys, I know you guys are thinking this is a last podcast, but we're only just getting started. We're only just getting started with this off-season. I know that this will be the one place you guys can come to get your off-season news and your reviews on every club. Guys, I appreciate your time once again. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you again to Latitude Accountants for sponsoring this podcast. You have yourselves a good week. Enjoy what is going to be a very long off-season. Another 106 days till round 1 2021 starts. But hang in there. We'll get through it together. Just continue to show your support and tune into the podcast, and we'll get through it together. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy. We'll see you next week. Take care.